Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is a heavy topic about sexual abuse. And I feel like I want to talk about that because I feel like there are so many women walking around that have been abused by, how we said earlier, somebody's uncle, mommy's friend, or what have you. As a single mom, is that something that you're concerned about, like when you meet a guy? So we're almost done, just wrapping it up here about from the women's perspective as a single moms. So tell me what
They should have wrap it up.
Wrap it up, right? Hashtag wrap it up.
That's going to be on your logo.
Okay, so let's hear from the single mom side. Okay. Now, what challenges have you had dating men, like as a single mom?
I believe, in my experience, when I date a man and they know or they find out, realize that I'm a single mom, that they tend to think I'm going to also be their mom. Like they want me to mother them.
Oh.
Sometimes, because I'm naturally, I can't say for all women, but most women are naturally, caregivers. And then being a mom, that makes me even more so. So then all of a sudden they want food cooked for them. They want clothes washed. They want, oh, if you're already doing this, can you do this for me too? So I tend to see, and being a single mom as well, sometimes they believe that, okay, she has a home, she's already established with her kids. What's one more person coming into her house?
Ooh,
okay, she already has a lot going on. And I'm not saying all men, I'm just saying.
Right. Your experience.
Yeah, some guys, they just like, oh, okay. Some guys I feel like to date single moms because they're the opposite of our guests here, because they like a person that's already established and already has a home and they can just move in.
Wow.
And I've seen that myself. And like I said, even like I was saying about my friends that are in relationships, are married, to the guys that aren't the children's father, they all had homes and the man moved in with them. So I kind of felt like in some situations, men seek those women out that are established with children because it's easier to just, and that could be men that aren't established, aren't as self-motivating as, some others. But some of them, we get targeted for that.
Oh, and now that you're saying that, and some of the single moms I think about, yeah, they do meet a lot of guys that are like that. Wow, that's crazy.
And I don't know if we're just attracting them because
I think so, because I sure enough don't meet guys like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. So are you open to that? Are you okay, like having a guy move in?
I would prefer to meet someone that's already has their own. And then maybe if it does get serious, we can do something else together. Yeah. But I would want someone to come in and just become another child, like what they're saying, like these women have liabilities. I would want someone to come in my life just to be another expense. Yeah. And he may say, and then they make it appealing. Like I had mentioned before, I know a woman, I don't know her personally, but I know someone who has 5 children. She's a single mom, and the last guy, I've only known her recently, but the guy that she met, he didn't have any kids. He moved in with her and used to, under the guise of, okay, well, you already have your place and you have your children. What's the sense of us going and get another place? Are you moving in with me when you already have your place?
That's such a good question. And guys, maybe y'all could chime in on this, because we want to know, how do we know a single guy, let's say, who has kids or doesn't have kids, really is there because he wants to be with a single mom? Because I feel like a guy's maybe thinking of single moms like, okay, I'm gonna just dick her down and she gonna still keep it moving, but that's all she needs to get through her week. You know what I mean? So what can we do so we can differentiate the guy who just wants to just benefit from us and not really invest in us? What do y'all think?
One of the unfair disadvantages I think women have is, I believe that you really don't know a person until you sleep with them. Honestly, you don't really know a man's true intentions until you have sex with him. Because a man can lie to you all the way up until you have sex. Then you're going to see where he really stands. And that's unfortunate, but it is a reality that I have seen over the years. But again, you just can't ignore certain signs. Like certain things just are very evident, but you choose to say, he didn't really mean that. Or, he was busy. That's why he didn't text back till 10 hours later or the next morning or something like that. Or when you call them, they go straight to voicemail. I'll call you right back, and don't call you back till 3 days later. I mean, there are certain signs that you just have to pay attention to. Is there a definite, this is the answer, this how this will work? I don't think so. Like everything in this world, I think everybody and everything evolves. So I believe that no matter what is said today, to tomorrow, next 10 minutes, it'll evolve into something else, and people will figure out how to get around it.
In situations that I've seen is that men are living 30 and 40 years old, living at home with their mom. That's what I'm referring to. And
okay.
They meet a woman and then that has multiple children and move in with the woman.
Okay.
So I think to me, and I'm no psychiatrist, but to me, I feel like they miss being a leader in their house by, if you live alone, you develop certain characteristics. So if you just living with your mom and your mom is running the house, so if it's a single mom, I'm just saying, you living with your single mom and you may or may not be helping pay bills, but she's still the leader of that house. And then you move in with the woman that maybe have 4 or 5 kids. And then I don't think they ever pick up that leadership role because they went from one mom to another mom.
They certainly don't. And we call those guys, we normally refer to them as losers, right?
Okay, I haven't. I didn't say that word.
I mean, that's what they are. These are men who, like you said, 30 something, still live with their mom, still live at home, have no intentions of making anything of themselves. They're not ambitious at all. They have no intentions of being. That's a loser.
But I think some of them seek out single moms for that
reason. Of course, because the thing
that's
is,
what I'm saying.
What you don't realize is that, I went back and to my previous point. A guy who has had to make something of himself, a guy who's ambitious, he's smart, he's intelligent. This dude is killing it out there. Like he's making 6 figures, but he has choices. Mm-hmm. He has choices. Like, so if he went as far as gone as far as to make a life for himself, like he wants the best now. So if he's looking, I guarantee you, a single mom with 5 kids is not on his radar. Mm-hmm. It's simply not.
What if she's super hot? No, y'all seem to be a lot about the looks. No,
he will sleep with her for sure. He will sleep with her all day for sure. But as far as like commitment, when he know he wants something forever, like think about it. Like a guy who's that smart in order, to making something of himself, to go out make 6 figures. Like the real guy that all women say that they want. This like ultra ambitious, super hardworking guy, real stand-up guy. Like he's gonna think that, hey, all this money that I have and I work for, I'm gonna have to split it 6 ways. That's a lot of resources. And then no, I want my own kids, so let's add 2 more to that. That's 8 people. And then now my kids have to receive a lot less because now I have to split my resources with so many people like that. That's
maybe these women, the single moms that are being in this situation, maybe they feel like they have to settle because the men
that's a reality.
Like you're saying, are not interested in them. So
that's the reality of it. That's just the reality of the situation.
Wow. So are you willing to settle?
That's another topic altogether.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm really to compromise in certain areas, but not totally settling to where, I have my home. Because to me, my home is very important to me because my children are there. So I'm not going to just open my home to anyone to just move in with me and do whatever. That's really sacred to me. So I don't believe, and my son is 11 at this point. I don't know. I can't say what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. I may meet someone that wows me so much.
Yeah.
That convinces me this, but as of right now, no, I don't, I would prefer to maybe us get something else together, but not just to come infiltrate my situation.
At the end of the day, I always thought that as people got older, at the end of the day, after all the games, you just want someone that is real, that you can trust and get through life with. I thought at some point when you're late 30s, 40s, 50s, you're like, okay, let me not be so nitpicky about this, and that.
Right.
And just at the end of the day, get someone who is truly going to be there for me at the end of the day and I could get through life with. Like, if you guys meet a woman and she is like, really someone that's an asset to your life and she has one kid, I'm not talking about the 5 or 10, but if she has one kid or two kids, like at the end of the day, aren't you sick of going through all these women and playing all the games? Like, don't you just want something real at the end of the day, guys? You're on mute. You're on mute.
It's 0 or 1. There's no in between.
How about you, Rudy?
I don't. I want to make a statement first before I answer that question. The older I get, honestly, my will never do's kind of decrease. And the reason why they decrease.
Say it again.
It's never do's, like things.
My never do's.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Start to decrease. And the reason why is because you encounter so many different things in life. At the end of the day, you really just want to be happy. And that's in all seriousness. Like it's so many things in this world that is so dissatisfying that you want a level of stability. You want to be able to have a level of happiness. If that happiness comes in the form of a person that has multiple children, I don't want to say I wouldn't do it. Would I say that that's my go-to? No, I can't say that's my go-to move. And as a matter of fact, I think when I think back about some different scenarios, I think when a woman tells me she has multiple children, it kind of like strikes a nerve in the back of my mind. Like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, damn, you made 5 bad decisions. I mean, not so good decisions. I mean, or you just have that much unprotected sex where you just doing it to everybody and everybody just having how many? I mean, whatever. That's crazy. Yeah. But okay, all right. Let's see what your mind like. But I will tell you this, being honest, when you find people that have a whole lot of children, one thing I have noticed, and of course there's exceptions to the rule, and this is not for everybody. I've noticed that their mental state coincides with the bad decisions. I've noticed that too. So with that being said, the way you are mentally is way more important to me than your past mistakes. I think that if mentally you're on par, then I can deal with you. But if your mind is anything like the mistakes that you may have made, and I hate to label children as mistakes, but the reality of it is, if your intentions were to make something with a person or not to make something with a person, which I think is even crazier, but damn, 5 times, 6 times. Like, when did you realize that this probably wasn't the best method to try to get the guy to stay or something? I don't know. Now, there's some women who were married for years. I know some women who were married and they got 4, 5, 6 children and the relationship just didn't work out. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing.
Right. Okay. So last thing I want to talk about is a heavy topic about sexual abuse. And I feel like I want to talk about that because I feel like there are so many women walking around that have been abused by, how we said earlier, somebody's uncle, mommy's friend, or what have you. As a single mom, is that something that you're concerned about, like when you meet a guy?
Yes, definitely. I actually have a relative. I don't want to say say the title, but a relative who her mom was a serial dater. But I think it was, at the time I didn't know, I was still a child myself, but I believe she had some kind of drug abuse going on. But I didn't know she was a functioning, person. Mm-hmm. So, but her daughter wind up getting abused sexually by one of the many guys that were coming around, and most of them were also, drug abusers normally attract each other. So she wound up getting abused multiple times. And she didn't say anything until she was an adult. But these different men that would come in and out her mom's house to smoke, I'm assuming, like I said, I was maybe 13, 14 at the time. But I would always see her date multiple men, but I didn't think anything of it. But yeah, so her daughter was about 5 or 6 years younger than me at the time. And these men, I guess, maybe when she was high and didn't know what was going on, they would go in the room, molest her. So that always is a big thing to me, which is why I never really, my daughter's probably, she's 23, seen me date 2 people her whole life. So because of that concern.
And how about you guys? How many women have you dated that have, been survivors of sexual abuse? Is that something common that you find among women that you meet?
For me, absolutely. It is a common thing. As far as the women that have been open about it, it's not something that I ask. It's just, in conversation that may have come out that may have happened at some point in their life. It is a common thing. But one thing I will say about that is, again, parenting has changed over the past couple of years. One thing that I will absolutely say about my mother and some of the women of old, they understood the habits of men. And one thing about men that I think all women need to understand is that as men are predators, all right? The only thing that keeps a man from doing something not, what's a good word, that they shouldn't do is their morals and values. If they can put aside their morals and values to do things, they're going to do it. Women of old would not allow their child to go over anybody's house if there was a male present. They just wouldn't do it because they knew that there was a possibility that that male there could potentially do something to their child. It's just in the nature of men. If you ever really watch how men look at women, let me be 100% clear, it really doesn't matter the age. The difference is they might look, but their morals and values say that girl's too young. And I would never do anything to that girl. But even still, the fact that it drew your attention lets you know that it something crossed your mind. Whatever that something was is whatever. But you have to be very careful when it comes to your children and who you allow them to be around. You got to ask hard questions and be honest about how you feel about things. And you're right. It's sexual abuse is definitely a common thing, but I'm not downplaying it at all. But what I will say is this. Again, I feel like people have to be accountable. If you've been involved in a scenario like that, it is your responsibility to get therapy. It is your responsibility to do the reading and the work to try to get past those scenarios. I wasn't the one that did that. Please don't put me in that category. Please don't treat me in that way. Again, I'm not downplaying it. I'm just saying that you can't keep holding on to elementary scenarios as a 30, 40, 50-year-old adult. When are you going to ever deal with your past traumas? That's the equivalent of somebody saying, I was a slave 70 years ago. All right, you still behaving that way though? Nothing has changed. I get it. It's a traumatic scenario, but come on. We gotta do the work for ourselves, because if you're not going to do the work, this is always going to be something that's going to jeopardize your livelihood.
Thank you, Rudy.
And we also have to be considered, a lot of, like what he was saying about not letting your daughters and nieces go spend the night in other people's houses. I was raised that same way. But we have to also consider the boys have to, we forget about that, but boys can be abused as well.
Exactly.
And I think that's a lot of times when we see gay men, a lot of times it's because they were abused as a child.
And another thing I want to mention is you're more likely to get abused by someone that you know. It's your family, it's your relatives, it's people that are close to your family. So that's what I wanted to point out too. I know you think you're just sending them by your sister's house, you're just sending them by their uncle or aunt, but people are more likely to get abused by people who are in their family, people that are close to their family, people that they know. So that, be very careful with that. That is, what were you gonna say? Have you had that, experience with the women you date too?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I've spoken to some pretty messed up women, and I can't even fathom, or I can't even relate to them on that level, because I was never through that traumatic experience. But I could see how detrimental it was to their lives, and if it affected them so much, I could see how even their kids, it affects their kids, because they're not doing like any better at all. The same, like I told you, the same. I don't want to call it a generational curse. It's more like a pattern, where her mom had a whole bunch of people coming through. She ended up, stuff ended up happening. She has a kid, same pattern. They have a kid, same pattern. And now you have these generations of kids, these generations of families that have the same exact problems. That there's just a generation of abuse, like generational abuse. Just generational dysfunction, and it all stems from that just having those whole bunch of guys come through and abusing the women. A lot of promiscuous women too. I've dealt with some promiscuous women, and that's the number one reason why they were that way. Because I can't even understand. That goes against most women's like biology. Basic biology is like they don't really get pleasure by sleeping around with so many men. And the way that they start, and especially when they start at like 13, 14, normally there was some history of abuse. So yeah, it's pretty sad.
So I just wanted to, bring that home too, that while we're dating as single mothers, that we do have to be careful with that. And not only with who we're dating, but as Rudy said, going over people's houses and those slumber parties and things like that, being very careful. And if you yourself have been abused, based on our discussions, you have to really watch your kids and really be aware that maybe that's not normal. Maybe how you grew up having your parents, your mom have all these different boyfriends and you thinking that's normal, that it's not the best. So be very careful. I want to send that message out to whoever that's supposed to touch right now, okay? And that's all I had today for our discussion about single moms. I love how this came out. Rudy, thank you for blessing us with your presence on the show. And thank you too. Let's give it up for our guest. So if you guys want to leave our viewers with any kind of last comment about dating as a single mother or dating single mothers, do you guys have any like kind of final comments you want to leave? You can do so right now.
There's still hope for single mothers.
All right, after this whole discussion.
I mean, it is. Realistically, it is. There's still hope for single mothers. I mean, again, being realistic, there is definitely somebody out here for everybody, but you also have to be intentional about what it is you really want. Date with a purpose. Date people that are in line with whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, you need to be upfront with them that that's what you're looking for, and be upfront with the fact that you do have children, and you need to find out if that's an issue for them. Because if it is, why even waste your time? And you're looking for a long-term relationship. Just, figure out what works for both of you guys.
Like it. Anybody else?
Well, I was going to say, Rudy brought up a lot of good information that left me almost speechless. So, as far as educating yourself, and not just by school, like he's saying, getting more intellectual, reading those books, seeing how you can influence your children to make better decisions going forward. That's one of my takeaways.
Yeah, that stuck with me too.
Yes. So, it's a lot of things that both of them said that I didn't ever consider. But hearing from single men that don't have children, they did provide a really good perspective.
Yeah,
that I don't know if you have, but I've never ever even considered.
No, I agree.
So yeah, so I really appreciate the talk today.
Oh yeah. How about anything you want to say, Thaddeus?
Not really. Just to reiterate that for single women, first and foremost of importance is your children. Make sure that you set them a good example. I would always say or always advise to, number one, find them a stable male figure. Whether or not you guys are romantic, matter of fact, it would probably be preferential if you were not romantically involved with him. Maybe some good friend or some guy at work or someone that you've been friends with, maybe from high school or something. Somebody that's going to be stable so that we can end this trend of single motherhood. Second thing is just to kind of shout it from the mountaintops. Just let all the younger women who don't already have kids, just let them know that, like, listen, this is not a path that you want to take. You want to do things and you can do things another way. Why don't you wait until you're in a super long-term marriage committed relationship before you decide to have kids? So
thank you. So you guys have heard it from everyone on this show today. Thank you for watching My Comfy Couch. Leave us a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join in on the conversation, okay? See you next time. Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of My Comfy Couch. This was really insightful for me, and I hope it was for you as well. Join in on the conversation. Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment. Share it. Let's get this discussion going. Let us know how you feel about dating single moms and dating as a single mom and what we can do as a society to make a change. Thanks again. Toodles.